Hi there, it's Mary Charlson, 5minutemarketing.com. Welcome back. It's 2020. We're doing our deep dives into marketing trends for 2020. And the second trend we're doing a deep dive on is search engine optimization, or what I'm calling SEO seismic shifts. Specifically things around voice, visual search, and that little snippet that's showing up in that Google search. So let's take a bit of a deep dive here. We know that voice is going to overtake typed search in 2020. They're estimating by the end of the year, voice will be more than 50% of searches. That is significant, and it's a huge change which has happened very, very quickly. Devices without a screen, things like Google Home and Alexa, those will make up 30% of those searches. And you think about it, those devices do not have a screen. And so there's going to be one result, which is going to come back through voice, and that's the one that people are going to chase down. That is going to tie in to some of our tips here. And of course, the rising use of mobile phones and OK Google and Siri, and utilizing that, especially when people are on the go. If they're they can't type, it's much faster to just ask the question. And so we're seeing this shift to voice. So let's dig in on some of those tips around voice. So we need to think of those devices as a person. In fact, that's the way that our customers are thinking of them, but we need to think of them from that perspective as a business. So they ask a question. Traditionally, SEO, we have search terms. So we think about best ski boot fitter and Vancouver. That's the way you would type it in. But a person would say, OK Google, or hey Siri, where's the best place to get custom boot fitting in Vancouver? And very, very different way of phrasing things. And so this needs to be tied into very much our search terms, and we need to embed these terms the way that people speak through the spoken word in our search terms, in our headlines, and we need to think about that for terms that we want to rank for. So think of it from a asked question to a person is the way that we're going to win at voice search. The next thing is to understand where that featured snippet fits in. And if you've done any Google searches recently, you've seen that little box at the top of a page. It takes up half of page one. That's huge. And one result gets to sit in that featured snippet. Only one gets it. I've done some experimenting around with it. There's an extremely high correlation between the featured snippet and the results delivered for voice search. And that is going to have huge, huge impact. So not only does that snippet shove down some of those results onto page 2 and page 3, but that snippet gets the real estate for the voice search. So that's another reason why this voice search is going to be so important. So I think the third tip here is to do a bit of an experiment. Do a voice search for your business and see how you rank. Do a voice search around your competitors and see how they rank. And mix it up with some common search terms that you're familiar with now and see what happens. So, and then with that, then start thinking about it from the perspective of your customers. What questions do they ask? And a good way to kind of get a tip in on that is to just observe what questions are our customers asking. Maybe go into social media feeds, go into rating sites, see what questions they're asking around certain topics, industry. What questions are they asking of your competitors on their sites? Ask your customers, ask your sales reps. Note those, because those are the voice search terms that you're going to need to start to rank against. Third, third is the fifth tip. So that was the fourth one. Look at social media and feedback and the questions. The fifth one is make sure that you have filled out your Google My Business profile. So complete the profile, keep it up to date. They're encouraging you to do posts, featured products. I think anytime Google does something, you know that it's going to tie into local search results, but you also know it's going to be heavily tied into this whole movement to voice. So make sure that is filled out. Another thing around search is ensuring that you are HTTPS. The S stands for secure, a secure site, and ensuring that that is part of your URL. If it is not, it is being penalized. It was being penalized in 2019, and it will be penalized even more so going into 2020. So those are some things around voice. Visual search is the second component of this major shakeup in SEO. We've got things like Google Lens, Pinterest Lens, where essentially you can take your mobile phone, you can snap a photo, and then it will search for the image. That could be for a pair of shoes, it could be an outfit, it could be take a picture of Lake Louise and it will direct me to some content around the history. What am I looking at? Give me a tour. This starts to have huge impacts not only on product sales, but on services around tourist locations. So visual, we know that visual searches in 2019, there were over 600 million visual searches on Pinterest. So if you're a business who is in one of the categories that has a lot of visual search, and I'll just read those out right now. Those are fashion, home decor, art, food, various consumer products, animals, go figure on that one, outfits, beauty, vehicle, and travel. Those were the 10 most searched categories on Pinterest that made up some of those 600 million visual searches. So if you're in one of those categories of business, I would highly suggest that you take a look at this visual search. Certainly be on Pinterest, being ensured that your products are tied through pins back to your website. But also make sure that those visuals of those products are tied into your Google My Business, featuring them as products, visual things, which then can be tied into that Google visual search. So, and then we get into our snippet, of course, is the third big thing, which is kind of impacting. So quick summary there. Voice search is going to be the big impact. Visual search, close second, and that featured snippet is going to also tie into this heavily. The things that we need to do around voice, think of the device as a person and the questions that they would ask that person. Consider the featured snippet and its impact. Experiment, voice search yourself, your competitors. Take a look at the social media feeds, talk to your customers, what questions are they asking, think like a customer, make sure you fill out your Google My Business, and make sure your site is secure with that HTTPS going into 2020. And if you are a business or a category which is highly tied into those areas, those industries which I listed off, make sure you're on Pinterest and you have some sort of visual presence within your Google My Business for Google visual search. So lots of shifts happening in SEO. The game is changing. Trust me, a whole bunch of competitors will be caught flat-footed on this one. Voice search is going to change the game majorly. Only one business gets to reside in that snippet, and it's going to be tied heavily to voice. So the ground is shifting, and 2020 is the time to ensure you get ahead of this game and don't get left flat-footed. That's our tip around SEO and the seismic shifts for this week. Thanks for joining us on 5minutemarketing.com, and we'll have some more deep dives around our top trends next week.